everyone, welcome to St Mary's Churchyard. I'm in the middle of the labyrinth, which is gradually growing, as you can see. Originally for year 3 for school, but anybody can walk it really. And there's a sign up there, which is currently standing upright despite the strong winds, which tells you all about what you do and what it's for. But I'm not here to talk about the labyrinth. I'm here just to say a few words. And I know it's been a couple of weeks since you've seen me because of COVID, and I've still got a bit of a line. It's Friday now, and it'll be gone by Sunday, but Revelation chapter 21. I, John, saw a new heaven and a new earth. The first heaven and the first earth had passed away. The sea was no more, and I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, "See, the home of God is among mortals. He will dwell with them, they will be his peoples. God himself will be with them. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. Death will be no more. Mourning and crying and pain will be no more. The first things have passed away." It's a wonderful image. Not one of my favourite books, the book of Revelation, but it is a beautiful image at the end, and that lovely image of God wiping away the tears, which, it has to be admitted, the writer pinched a little bit from the Old Testament. We don't know who this John was, but we know he was persecuted for his faith and ended up in exile on the Isle of Patmos, where he had these extraordinary visions. And the book ends with this vision of heaven and earth joined, heaven and earth coming down to earth. Notice, not earth going up to heaven. And in some ways it's a kind of literal envisioning of part of the Lord's Prayer. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So the book ends, despite all the terrible descriptions of destruction in the earlier chapters, with a vision of heaven and earth renewed, restored, recreated, rejoined. God comes down to complete the transformation, the regeneration that began with the birth of Christ, his Son, whom the book of Revelation calls the Lamb of God, one slain for the whole world, that began with the birth of Christ and was shown in his life, his death and his resurrection, and his ascending into heaven. Behold, I am making all things new, says God. The voice of God there, silenced by the 453 going to Liverpool Street. Behold, I am making all things new, says God. And this is a huge jump, I know, but some of you will very much enjoy that programme, which I enjoy watching too, called The Repair Shop. A bit of a sleeper hit, really, just a simple programme about objects of real or sentimental value to people being repaired by expert restorers, but it's become a big hit, and rightly so. And at the heart of it is our fascination in seeing old and damaged, and in some cases quite battered things being transformed by the skill and loving care of craftspeople who work so diligently and sensitively with what they're given. It's hard sometimes to see how these things are going to be restored, but remarkable transformations take place. We seem a long way from the new heaven and the new earth that John writes about and envisages, but then John's world was a long way from it too. There was a powerful oppressive empire, people being oppressed and killed and persecuted and executed for not believing and saying the right things. It sounds familiar, doesn't it? So he was writing from a very imperfect world too. And it's right for us to hold on to that vision, to know that God is, in his way, making